socialist democrats.
Okay.
How does that compare? How do your ideals compare to communism?
Oh, very different. Very different. We don't believe that people should have exactly the same. We don't believe that everything should be exactly the same. We actually believe that you should fulfill your goals and you should do what's best for you. We just believe that we have very different chances of doing that, and the state should help out with equalizing the differences in that. But it should still be up to you to go the last mile. It's still about like what you want to do, and it's still about that. Of course, you should still have the carrot, we would say, hanging in front of you to say that, hey, if I do this, I can earn more money if that's what you want to do, or I can, I don't know, be happy. I can fulfill a dream if I do something, right? And believing in that is, I would believe, is very different from the communist. We're not into that everyone should do exactly the same, and I don't think we're punishing anyone. As I started out saying, believing in common welfare means that it goes for everyone, and it's not just stealing from someone and giving to the rest. It's actually just about everyone helping out to building the right and the best society.
What would you say to people in the U.S. who are afraid that social democracy will lead to the U.S. becoming like Venezuela?
There's a little bit of difference between Norway and Venezuela, but you have to have an open democracy. But it's a very safe society to grow up in. So I don't understand why people in the United States are so afraid of social democracy, because it is very safe, and when we are safe and we feel secure, we excel better, because we can use our resources to other things. We can work better, we can take good care of our children, of our neighbors, of everybody. And I don't understand why they think that to give free health care to everybody is such a negative or a dangerous thing. It's very reassuring. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about my security is good enough or not. I know that if I get sick tomorrow, the system will take care of me. I will be as fine as I can be.
Norway is not a communist country nor a socialist country even. We are a social democracy. I myself come from Poland, which used to be a communist country, so I would never fight for communism. But it is an argument that strikes fear in people who are afraid of the communist agenda, or the Soviet Union days where you had the Cold War. And I can just kill it right away that having universal healthcare or universal free education, including college, is not a gateway into communism. It's in fact the opposite, because by having these opportunities available for all, you have more people who can become the best they can be, who can apply themselves within all kinds of venues, who can make the free market system better, can make the economy better, politics better, because you use all the resources you have. We still have a free market, even though we have regulations. We are still, we have a whole gigantic private sector, but we are also have a strong state, and that leads we cooperate. We're not fighting, we mostly cooperate, and that gives us the state gets a lot of taxes, which we can then use on the free healthcare and the free education, but we also use all the resources we have. And which is the number one resource every country has? That's its citizens. That's the number one resource. It's not the oil or gas or wood or free market system or Wall Street or whatever. It's the people. The people are the biggest resource. And right now, the United States has a huge amount of their citizens that are not being the best resources they can be, because they cannot get in to school, they cannot get in to college, they will never use their brain for the betterment of humankind in the United States because they don't have a chance to. And when it comes to universal healthcare, again, your financial situation can save or break you if you get sick, and everyone gets sick. No matter how rich your parents are or how poor they are, we can all get cancer, we can all have a car crash, everyone can get sick and might end up without a job. But if you don't have that safe, that parachute, as we sometimes like to call it, which is universal healthcare, again, you lose the resources and you create an unstable environment where some people need to actually look to crime.
I think they are missing real information, because this is not true. You don't become like Venezuela, you don't become like Russia. You become very different from the two countries, both of them, by having it. So they are missing an accurate description of what is happening. First of all, if you have public insurance, health insurance, you can also top it up with private insurance if you like. If you are so fond of private arrangement, you can pop it up, but there's a flaw that you can never go under. So that means that there's a flaw for everybody, but you could find all kinds of individual market-oriented arrangement on top of that if you like. So that's one thing. Another thing is that people misunderstand, they don't quite understand that we combine market organization with public intervention. And it is the combination that makes Scandinavia distinct from others. So it's not, we are very market exposed, more market exposed in a sense as a country than the US. The US is a big country that is closed off from international competition because you don't have to export 50% of what you produce, but we have to do that. We are very exposed to international competition. So we are more market oriented in that sense, that we are dependent on conditions elsewhere in the world to generate the income, because we are very small countries, and small countries have to be very open. So we couldn't have a trade war, we couldn't have things like that, because it would be extremely harmful for the country. But the US can, because it's a big closed economy. So Americans have to think a little bit more that they are actually sheltered from international competition, and maybe that's also the reason why they don't have proper social institutions, because social institutions is good to remain competitive. To have a good health provision is good for workers. You are better workers when you have a good health, and to have access to public hospitals and have a good healthcare is important for firms that compete in international markets.
Well, it won't become communist. I read some of that, and I find it just like hilarious to think that people would actually believe that free and universal healthcare is like a start to becoming Venezuela. It's just like so crazy. Like all of Western Europe, all of Eastern Europe now becoming more democratic, or has become democratic after the Cold War. They all have universal healthcare in one way or another, and it's actually one of the best ways to ensure social cohesion in society is to make sure that health is covered. It makes people with ranging from mental health problems so that you can get them taken care of and get them well again, to people that get injured, that you can get them back into the workforce, get them back into taking care of their own families. I mean, that's not communist, that's just common sense to me. I have a lot of American friends, and I've had a lot of Americans visit us here in Norway, and I don't think any one of them ever contrived the idea that we're a sort of a communist country when they visited. So I find the notion that people believing that and sort of arguing that they must be ill-informed, or they haven't been visiting, because they will see that it's not even close. And the UN, what you call Freedom Index or whatever, puts, for instance, Norway and other Nordic countries with universal healthcare high on that list. So certainly no communism to see around here.
It will not lead to communist state, but what we're talking about free, nothing is free in this world. We just use the word free, but nothing is free. Even when you're free, the government has to pay for it. Even when you shit, the government has to go and pay somebody to come and clean it. Who's going to clean it for you? So nothing is free. So when the government says that they want some money, let that money be used for that purpose. Like Sweden, when you buy a house here, you will still pay certain money back. Why? Because that money is going to throw your dirt away, clean your environment, and keep you, so it just depends on how you negotiate, or how you people come to that level of understanding. Because that's the thing, unless the government is greedy and they want to just eat the money, but as long as the government is serving their people, then it ain't got no problem. Because that's why the government is there for, is to serve their people. And their people are there to also work for their country together with the government.
That's like the most important message I could give to the United States is use your human capital to their best by giving them opportunity to reach their best, all of them. And in that way, you might also level out the scales. More people meet each other from different areas of life. That's a good thing. If you have elite schools with only elite people, we call this a bubble of thinking, an echo chamber, where you only hear your own arguments thrown back at you. If you meet people from different areas of life, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, you have a much bigger dialogue, you have different views, you can learn, you can grow, and you can apply this to your work, to your family life, to your society. It's a good thing for all to be more intertwined, exactly, than everyone living in their own little bubble and fighting against each other, because you are not against each other, you're one country. You should be seen as one and work as one, and universal healthcare and universal education is a gateway to that, not to communism, to growth, to expansion, to more innovative thinking, and to using more of your human capital to the best for all.